Hello children, let's begin with another lesson in English literature. Before we begin with this new lesson, it's a poem. I want everyone with their English literature textbook turn to lesson number 2, page number 13, 1 3 13. Hold a pencil in your hand. The wind on the hill. Okay? Now, if you're not ready, just pause the video, and once you're ready, you can play the play button. Now, before we begin with the poem, children, I want to ask you all, okay, when mummy, okay, when she washes the clothes, after washing the clothes, either manually or with the help of the washing machine, okay, she puts the clothes on the clothes line. Okay, why she puts the clothes on the clothes line near on the window? So that the clothes gets dried up. The wet clothes should get dried up, na, then only you can fold it and keep it in a cupboard, and it is used for you can use it for the next time to wear it. So why she keeps the clothes, and how does the clothes gets dried up? With the help of the sunlight and wind. Correct. So in today's this poem is about the wind on the hill. The wind is a unique phenomenon. Okay, while we are unable to see it, we can see the result of its blowing. Okay, we cannot see the wind, but we can see the result when the wind blows. Now, Wind on the Hill shows a child's grappling with this understanding. A. Mill wrote books and poems for children. His most famous creation was Winnie the Pooh. He is the poet A. Mill. Okay? And I think this poem is really talking about, now this poem about the, what do you call it, the wind on the hill. Okay? It's talking about the freedom. Okay? And how the poet is telling about the freedom. This poem is full of symbols, like the wind representing freedom. Freedom means what? No one can have a hold on the wind. Okay? The wind moves according to its own. It blows from somewhere, and it comes from somewhere, and it goes in. It comes from any direction and goes in in any direction. No one knows about it, from where the wind is coming and where it will go. So children, this poet, it's here the poet is talking about the freedom. Okay, the kite represents all the emotion. The leader of the main character of this poet, okay, that is a boy. He feels when his dad left him. Okay, he kept the kites in hopes that his dad would come back, until one day when he accepts that his father is not going to come back. Okay, and when he releases the kite into the free wind, he is also freeing himself. Okay, and this beautiful thought is written by Alan Alexander Mill. Okay, who was a British English, or who was the British author. Okay, and he was born on 18 January 1882, and he died on 31st January 1956, United Kingdom. Now he was best known for his books. Okay, and one of the book that is about the teddy bear Winnie the Pooh. He's got really very famous. Okay, it brought all the fame to him, and he has written many various other poems also. Mill was a noted writer, primarily as a playwright, before the huge success of Pooh, which overshadowed all his previous work. Okay, overshadowed means what? In the past, whatever work he had done, it was really very. It gained success, but Winnie the Pooh, it overshadowed. Okay, though success was nothing in front of Winnie the Pooh when it got published. Okay, when this when this book got published, it got massive. What do you call it? Success, which overshadowed his previous work. So, let's begin with the poem The Wind on the Hill. Now, the wind can be of many kinds, children. Okay, the wind can sometimes be gentle. See the first picture. It can be a breeze, in the form of breeze. Then it can be sometimes playful also. When mummy dries the clothes on the clothes line, okay, the clothes, it moves, right? When it is when mama keeps it when she hung the clothes on the clothes line, so it is sometimes playful also. It can be sometimes really very strong. You can see in the picture how strong the wind is, and sometimes it can really can be threatening. Okay, so that is menacing. It can be really very threatening. So first we'll read the entire all these stanzas, or there are 5 stanzas in this poem. We'll read all the 5 stanzas and then we'll read stanza by stanza. I'm going to explain you all. Now children, the wind on the hill. No one can tell me, nobody knows where the wind comes from, where the wind goes. It's flying from somewhere as fast as it can. I couldn't keep up with it, not if I ran. But if I stopped holding the string of my kite, it would blow with the wind for a day and a night. And when I found it, wherever it blew, I should know that the wind had been going there too, so then I could tell them where the wind goes, but where the wind comes from, nobody knows. So children, wind, how, if I tell you all, before we begin with the poem, I want to ask you all one question. When I say the word wind, what things comes to your mind? Which words will describe the wind? Come on, think about it. When I say the word wind, which are the words that describes the wind? Now you'll say winds are strong. Okay. What else, children? They are invisible, isn't it, children? Can you see the wind? No. They are sometimes breezy. They are stormy. It can be threatening. So these are the few adjectives which describes the wind. Okay, children? Now come to the first stanza. No one can tell me, nobody knows where the wind comes from, where the wind goes. So when you read the first stanza, it is very simple line. The first stanzas are having simple lines. So when you read the first stanza, it comes to our mind that the poet is saying that if we go and ask someone, okay, he's sure that they will not know the answer. Okay, why they will not know the answer? Because they don't know about it. And what is that? What they don't know about it is that from where the wind comes and from where the wind goes, and from where the wind is coming and where it is going. So he's saying that no one can tell me. And why no one can tell me? Because they are not knowing about the wind, from where it is coming and from where and where it is going. Okay, children? It's flying from somewhere as fast as it can. I couldn't keep up with it, not if I ran. So over here, children, what the poet is trying to talk about? Come on, think about it. He's asked, like in a question form, he's saying that it's flying from somewhere. Okay, he's talking about something. Okay, he's saying that it is flying from somewhere as fast as it can. Now here he's talking about something. He's not revealing about what he's talking. Okay, he's saying that he's flying from somewhere. Okay, he's talking about wind, but along with the wind, he's saying something else is also flying. And it is flying at a greater pace. Why? Because of the pressure of the wind. I couldn't keep up with it. Not if I ran. Even if he's running, still he cannot keep a match with the pace with what the thing is blowing along with the wind. Is it clear, children? Then, let us see about what he is talking in the third stanza. But if I stopped holding the string of my kite, it will blow with the wind for a day and a night. So here in the third stanza, he reveals he is talking about his kite. Okay, about whom he is talking about? He is talking about the kite. He is saying that, but if I stop holding the string of the kite, you know what is a string? A string is a thread, okay, which we tie to the kite. Now children, in India, okay, especially in Maharashtra, we all live in the state of Maharashtra, but in different cities, right? But which is there is a festival which is celebrated in the state of Maharashtra, and this festival normally comes in the month of January. And in this particular on this particular day, people fly kites in the sky. So which festival is it? Think about it, and in the next lecture you can tell me which festival is it in Maharashtra on that particular day we fly kites. Okay, there you can see n number of kites in the sky. And people fly kite in other state also, but since we are living in the state of Maharashtra, I want you all to find out the festival on which, on that particular, on the day of that festival, we fly kites. Okay, and to fly the kites we need to tie the string. One end of the string is tied to the kite and the other of the string you are holding, so that you can have a hold on that particular kite. Is it clear, children? See, if you take a balloon, put air in that balloon and tie it with the string, and you just go in the you can go down near in the, what do you call it, you can stand down of your building, and when the wind blows, what happens, the balloon starts moving along with the wind, and to hold the grip of that particular balloon, you are having that string in your hand. So here the poet is saying that, but if I stop holding the string of my kite, if I don't hold the string of my kite, what will happen? It would blow with the wind for a day and night. Okay, what will happen? The kite will start blowing along with the wind, and it will blow for what? For a day and night. Means what? To a particular limit. Why? Because sometimes there is wind, the movement of the wind also goes up and down. Okay, this if the pressure is there, the kite will blow along with the wind, and if there is no wind, what will happen? If the pressure of the wind, if it is not strong enough, it is really gentle, what will happen? The kite will fall down on the ground. Okay, so in the third stanza the poet is saying that if I stop holding the string of the kite, what will happen? The kite will blow along with the wind for a, he's saying, for at least for a day or for a night, it will keep blowing with the wind, and once the wind becomes gentle, when it becomes gentle, it will fall on the ground. And once it fall on the ground, what will happen? We'll see in the next lecture. In the fourth and fifth stanza, he discloses what will happen once the kite falls. Okay, what he will come, at what conclusion he will come, and what knowledge he will gain. So children, I stop the poem here only. We have completed till the third stanza. So let me read it once again. In the first stanza, the poet is saying that if I ask someone, they will not be able to answer because they are not knowing about the wind, from where the wind is coming and where it will go. Then in the second stanza, he's saying that he's talking about a thing which is flying up in the sky. Okay, with the help of and it is flying at a greater pace because of the pressure of the wind, and to match up to that pressure, even if he runs, still he cannot match up. And in the third stanza, he is revealing that he was talking about the kite. Okay, when he was flying the kite, okay, what happened? If he stop holding the string, because string is the thing that because of which you can have a control over the kite will not fly in the sky. So he says that if I stop holding the string, what will happen? The kite will fly along with the wind. It can fly for a day or a night, and once the pressure, the wind becomes gentle, the kite might fall somewhere or the other. Okay, and when the kite stop flying, when it falls down, that time, at that time, what conclusion the poet gets or what he can answer, we'll see in the next stanza. So I'll read the stanza, the first three stanza. No one can tell me, nobody knows where the wind comes from, where the wind goes. It's flying from somewhere as fast as it can. I couldn't keep up with it, not if I ran. But if I stop holding the string of my kite, it will blow with the wind for a day and a night. Is it clear, children? So till we meet up till the next lecture, you can revise, you can learn these three stanzas. Okay.